what we'd be looking at. But it's getting closer. It was exciting to see him today. You get a bit of a lift, and he was kicking a ball as well, which was nice.
What about the others? We saw Coelho working out with him too, and Fede doing some running on his own.
Yeah. So Coelho's concussion protocol. Unfortunately, he was concussed in that game. Disappointing. I think we all raised it to the referee in the AR, in that moment when he took the head knock, but no one took that serious. So, when we assessed him, he's just under the protocol now. So he'll be missing this week. Hopefully we get him back for the cup game next Wednesday, but you just never know with these things. You've got to take them day by day and pretty serious. And Fede picked up just a small muscle strain the last few minutes in that Charlotte game. I mean, that guy's pushing big numbers every game for his team. It was a slight strain, so it's just questionable at the moment. He showed good signs today. He got back into training yesterday, modified today. So we'll do a little fitness test tomorrow, and I'm not expecting Fede to miss out. Spice is back. Yeah, good news for Spice. So, he could have been available in Charlotte for minutes. Just the turf and the irritation on that toe, they don't go too well. And same for DeAndre Kerr. For him, it was plantar fascia, which is triggered by the turf. But he was modified this week. He's back in the squad. So he should be available as well for minutes. So, thank goodness it's our last game on turf. I think we're done now with the turf experience, and we don't have to worry about that. Raul, he'll go through one more stage tomorrow to ensure that he's absolutely good to go. But I would say, he should be available.
Is there anyone else that popped up?
No, I mean, just the Fede one was the one that caught us off guard. I mean, that was, he just felt something on that deceleration on their goal. So, I mean, we're just fingers crossed that we can get him into the game tomorrow. He passes that last test, and, hopefully he can manage through the game as well.
So more changes on the back line with Kevin?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, it's been our reality this season. We just haven't been able to get that consistency and cohesion. But, Nixon did a wonderful job in the pre-season. Actually, most of the pre-season was Nixon, Raul, and a combination of Shane and Sigurd. So, I've got all confidence that those players can play in those positions, and we can adapt as well if needed to get something at home for New England.
What do you see in New England? I mean, there seem to be some similarities with you, though they had the Champions Cup to deal with, but new coach trying to get his way of playing and maybe still looking for some players to bring in. Do you see some similarities in it?
I think I got asked that question yesterday, and I think the similarities is, it's a new coach. I think the differences are, I mean, they've had a CONCACAF Champions League, which it's either a curse or a gift. The curse is if you're losing your league games and then you lose those games, then it's a curse. If you're winning, it's a gift because you're just getting cohesion. Guys are playing and they should be more cohesive through more games. I think that's the difference, and I think the difference is, I mean, we finished bottom of the league, the worst team in TFC history last year, and for the last 2 years we finished around the bottom of the league. I don't think New England have been in that reality. New England have had 3 DPs available every game. Toronto are playing with 1. We've had 6 injuries to 5 per game, and they've had 1 or 2 from what I've seen. So there's a lot of differences, and again, we're sitting on 10 points and we're only 4 points away from the top 4. So I think the similarities is new coach who's, trying to put their stamp on a team. And, ultimately I think for us, this game's a huge match this weekend to get back into that top 4 hunt.
John, it's the first of 3 games in an 8-day period across 2 competitions in 2 different cities. You have to go down to Florida.
Exciting.
Yeah, so it's sort of short turnaround.
Yeah.
I mean, how much is squad rotation going to play?
A lot. A lot. I mean, we're only rostering 19 tomorrow. I mean, that's our reality. And, you know, the rotation for this game into Wednesday, there'll be a lot of rotation, and then a very tough match against Orlando. And I can't even look past Simcoe. I mean, these games, if you get the mindset wrong, if you anyway overlook the quality of the opponent, you know this has got banana skin written all over it. So the level of intensity and focus going into Simcoe will be strong. There is a group of players that are aware that they're going to take that responsibility on, but we're not taking that match lightly. The Canadian Championship is a trophy this club wants to win, so there will be rotation, but rotation among 19 players. I mean, that's the reality. Some TFC2 players may pop up, but you know, at the moment, as I've said to you, you know, last season there were too many young men in the team, not enough men, and that led to, I thought, a lot of the downfall of the team, just not having that, you know, wily experience to go and grind out results and win games. So, you know, I'll be pushing that group as far as they can go, and not giving players opportunities that haven't earned the right either. I think that's a big problem.
John, is there, just with regards to the TFC2 signings yesterday, and Nixon also came from Sheffield United, is there, either informally or formally, is there any kind of relationship between the club and Sheffield United? Because it seems to be this pipeline of talent coming in. Or is it just informal talks that you hold?
Well, no, the style of player, they play out of a back three. Their players are formed through their academy and back three systems and structures. So when I took the role on, there was a wing back that I was really interested in at Sheffield United. And then just watching 6, 7, 8, 9 games of this wing back, you got to see the style of player, the discipline, the intensity of their U21 players, and you know, then you start digging a little bit deeper into the consistency of that formation through the club. So you're looking at centre backs and wing backs that are formed specifically in a style of play, and the attacking midfielders have got the patterns of play and some of that IQ as well. So I think it's a club that's very interesting, and they breed their players tough. They breed hard workers, so you know the character of the players coming out of that environment. Team first and hard work first, which is something that I've told everyone at this club has to be instilled as the first priority.
You weren't happy with the goals conceded on the weekend. Was there a particular message to the team this week on that score?
Well, Sean Johnson led it. I thought Sean was brilliant. He was very clear that, you know, when you have conceded 5 goals in 2 matches from second phase recycles in set pieces, whether it's a throw-in, a free kick, a corner, you know, that isn't championship standards. We were coming out of that game with a point. There's no reason why we shouldn't have came out of that game with a point, maybe even 3, but a point was a fair result. And even the Whitecaps game, you know, 2-0 down, we were well in that game. We were climbing back in, and a recycle off a set piece costs you. And we've just said enough. Like, it has to be an area of attention. So we worked on that today. We worked on it yesterday, just roles and responsibilities. But, you know, it's a commitment from those guys coming off the bench that, you know, they're not coming in to try and win a football match because they're fighting for their jersey or they're trying to get their moment in the sun. It's about doing what the team needs. It's about the clarity in their roles. And it's not just the starting 11. It's the technical staff. It's the subs coming in with absolute precision and clarity. But today we worked on mindset, and Sean Johnson set a real tone and a message to the group about the expectations and what above the line looks like in that area.
I know it's only been 3 games for Nixon because he had the wrist injury to deal with, but has he come as advertised? Has he kind of provided what he thought he would?
Well, it was a bit of a gamble. The work we did with Nix, he'd never played a senior professional game, so a lot of the scouting that I'd been able to conduct along with Jason Hernandez's team, was the preseason friendly matches against good European opposition. So it was those games you were able to see if he could manage that level, and I thought he was really solid in the games he'd got. So that was the gamble we were taking. At U21 level, he looked comfortable. You knew at Sheffield United he was maybe a little bit undersized given what they look for in their centre backs, and ultimately they typically look for more 24 to 30-year-old hardened pros. So we felt the path into the first team was going to be tough for him. So I think for us, he's came as advertised. He's growing in confidence. I think his durability is what we're building, and which is he hasn't been able to really sustain those 90 minutes under his belt. His pre-season was interrupted by a concussion. His season was interrupted by his wrist injury, and I think that last 20 minutes, you see it. You see he was flagging the goal that they scored off the Coelho pass. You could see, he could have been available. I mean, that's stuff he takes accountability for, but that was just fatigue. It's durability across 90 minutes. So I think when he gets that in his belt, this is a player that is going to be one of the top centre-backs in MLS this season. That's the expectation I have for him, and the pressure we've been putting on him.
You mentioned before about having conversations with Kosi about filling in on that sort of wide centre-back position.
Yeah.
I think he's played a little bit there this year. What is it about his player profile that you thought, he can sort of fill that role?
Well, I think we've got good depth in the midfield. That's the starting point. He adds to that depth in the midfield. But what we've seen is there's a physical profile there where, the lad's pushing 6 foot. He's got formation at the fullback role. He's had formation in wide areas. He's had formation in midfield. So for us, he's definitely got the athletic competency to play in that hybrid wide centre-back role. That's the centre-back you expect to join on pretty much every play. But they have the engine to recover. Ali Johnson would be a great example of that profile, a centre midfielder that moves into that position. So of course he's on a journey. He's fully invested. Every training session he's been developing in that role. He's getting closer to a start. The Simcoe game will probably be a big opportunity for him to be fully tested. We've, we were close to selecting him for this game and starting him. He's aware of that. But the box defending piece is something when you're coming up against 3 DPs that are hungry and desperate for a win. And their 3 DPs, Veroni is top level. They're all sitting the front line. So, we don't want to put players in positions where they're learning on the job. There's going to be an element of that, but, the level of opposition this week, too many DPs in that front line to give him that opportunity yet.
Do you designate a penalty taker?
Yeah, that's Federico. Yeah, he's our penalty taker. Even when Lorenzo's on the pitch, that's Fede's job. Lorenzo might pick the ball up, but typically Fede will take it off him.